Now that we've got a really good base for our epidermal color maps, I want to start adding in a couple other details I think will really help sell the skin. And one thing that I like to do is add veins. Now, less is more when it comes to this stuff. Because it's in the epidermal color maps, we want to make sure that it's very faint and restricted to certain areas. Obviously, depending on what kind of character you're painting, if it's kind of like a vampire or some kind of zombie or something, you may want to go crazy with the veins. But for now, for this character, I just want to do something subtle. So there's a couple ways we can do this. The easiest way for me is probably add a flat color that's going to be the tone of the kind of vein color that I want, and then mask it basically. So hide it all so it's all black, and then mask in just certain areas. That's one way you can do it. So let's go about doing that. So I'm going to call this veins, and I want to pick a tone like this and see how this ends up looking. So I'm going to go to the UVs and select everything, and then go to patches, fill, foreground, or I can go up here since it's getting cut off by the recording, fill, foreground. And then I'm going to mask it and hide all. And I'm going to paint some veins. Use a soft brush that has a bit of an edge. See how this goes. Making sure I'm in my mask and with white selected. Lay down some veins. So this color isn't exactly what I'm looking for. So we can quickly fix this on the fly by adding an adjustment stack within it. Just add a color balance. I'm going to tweak some of these tones. There we go. I actually want this to go slightly darker. Like so. And then I can even fade it back here, which is what I want. So it's very subtle in the air. Perfect. Let's select my mask again and continue painting in to the ear. So again, this technique allows me to be non-destructive. Awesome. So you can see it's a very subtle effect, but it's going to add a lot. And in fact, I'm going to cheat some of it on the side of the head as well, ever so slightly. Nothing crazy, just a little extra. Great. And I like the Stormy brush because it has that jagged edge So combined with the small diameter of the brush, it's going to give a really nice veiny quality look without looking contrived. Like so. And there we go. So with the introduction of layer masks and the layer system, we're really getting back to being able to keep things Photoshop-esque and non-destructive. In fact, I may just want to add some around the nostrils here. Something subtle. Get some even more breakup. Awesome. Ever so slowly, just on the nose. Give a little bit more character. You know, maybe he drinks a lot. Oh, I keep turning that on, sorry. Awesome. So you guys can use this technique and go a little bit crazier if you want bigger veins. So conceivably I could call these veins small, and then I can duplicate this. Call those veins large. Now typically, let me actually remove this mask and replace it with a clean one. So typically with the veins large, I would grab it from typically from the ZBrush. If we were to grab this guy up here, so you can see where in the ZBrush Ben has done some veins on the side of the head. So ideally you would get this as a separate pass, the veins as a separate pass. But in this case, they're all kind of put in the same sculpt, which is okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a softer edge brush and paint this in. Based off of his sculpt, like so. And before I bake it down, I'm just going to hide the ZBrush to see how it plays on the skin. Oh, sorry, yeah. So yeah, I'm actually happy with this. So I'm going to bake that down. Clear it. So this might be a bit strong, but that's okay. At least I know that it's following the ZBrush that was sculpted, and I'm just going to fade this out slightly. Like so. So it's a subtle effect, but when you pop the ZBrush in to the render, it's going to pick up that vein and read really nicely. So I'm going to do it on this side as well. Make sure it's roughly dialed in. like so. Hide the ZBrush. And then bake that down. And there we go. So again, if you're not really looking at it, it's super subtle. But when we have that dialed in the look dev, it's going to read really nicely. And then we get the two types of veins. We get the nice fine varicose veining that you'll see, and then the broad stuff. So guys, experiment with this technique to get kind of veining in your skin to achieve whatever result you guys have planned out. And it's going to really bring things to the next level. So if we look here, you can see how all that veining, you know, I mean, from a realistic standpoint, if this character were going to film, you're really not going to see this stuff and pick this up unless it's really close up on the side of the ear. But there is a chance that you will get those kind of shots on a character like this. And if we get somewhere like here, this veining is just gonna, it's one of those details that from a layman, from someone who's just watching a movie and enjoying it, they probably wouldn't readily be able to tell you that detail is in there, but subconsciously they see it for a split second, and it's something that's identifiable because we do see it on an everyday basis, and it is something that makes sense for inside the ears, especially when we do creaturey type stuff. So that stuff just sells believability because it's something that the audience can identify with. Same thing with skin pores. You know, they can't readily tell you that why that skin looks better, you know, one skin looks better than the other. But it's because of these fine details, the variation in skin pores, that we just, because we look at faces all day, every day, it's something we just instinctively accept and see and observe. And so if we can get closer to whatever is real, aka these skin scans, the audience is just going to believe it, and they're going to see it, and it's going to be identifiable, and it's relatable because it's what exists, and it's something we're not making up, and we're not fudging and pretending. So all this stuff, when combined together, brings out the best type of skin. So that's the technique for that. In the next video, we're going to talk about subdermal color maps, and we're going to go into, you know, the different ideas about how we want to paint them, ultimately how I'm going to paint them for this character, and other discussions on different masks that we may use in production. We probably won't do for this class, but I'll go over some of them so you guys have an idea of what you can expect when painting skin for production.